All right, y'all. I am flying solo on this week's episode. I have been wanting to do this one for a while now. It's going to be super short and sweet, but hopefully still very helpful for anybody who's at all curious about our planning process and how that works. Full disclosure, our planning process is outlined on our website, but in this episode, I'm going to go into it in a little bit more detail for you guys and just answer some of the questions that we get asked over and over again. I figured maybe this would serve as a useful resource for anybody who's interested in working with us.
Hey y'all, I'm Bailey, the owner and founder of Be the Travel. It's the business I started to help bring my clients' dream travel bees to life. Whether they wanted to be inspired, be adventurous, be unplugged, or just be together with their loved ones in a beautiful destination, I wanted to serve them by taking the stressors of travel planning off of their plate. Right now, you're listening to Be the Travel Podcast, the place where I bring you my supplier and partner relationships, industry knowledge, and professional travel tips that I've accumulated along the way. Hopefully you'll listen in and find yourself even a little bit more inspired to create a travel bee of your own, whatever that might look like to you.
So I guess I should start by saying our planning process was intentionally designed, and the goal here is to help people reimagine a new way of travel planning. And what I mean by that is it's no secret that you could book travel online by yourself, right? I think that is definitely a trend that's becoming less and less popular by the day, just as people recognize, of course, the hassle that's involved in booking online and researching on your own and whatnot, but also the risks that are associated with it, and just, people getting burned and whatnot. So I definitely think it's becoming less popular of a trend, and people turning to the modern day travel advisor is something that's becoming more and more popular. And our mission at Be the Travel, and I know that this is the heart of a lot of travel advisors in our industry, but we all just want to rehumanize the travel planning process, right? So we want to reintroduce the human element, the relationship building, and just the unique relationship that can be formed between travel advisor and traveler, and the cool itineraries that can come from those relationships. So that's kind of the whole, I guess, idea behind our travel planning process and why it was formed. But yeah, I guess I'll just start in the beginning. So the first thing that happens, obviously, is somebody reaches out to us about a trip. And people do this on all forms of communication platforms, and that is totally okay. So people reach out to us on Instagram, they direct message us on Facebook, they shoot us a text or an email, or they call us, or they message us through the website. And all of those things are totally okay. We love that everyone feels comfortable to reach us through multiple different forms of communication. However, the first step, no matter where we start talking, is we're going to point you guys to fill out our Plan Your Trip form. That's found on our website and also on the link on our Instagram profile. And that form is just going to ask some questions to help us prepare for our initial consult call that we want to have with you guys. So the form is going to ask us questions like, what's your budget? Where are you looking to go? Are you celebrating anything special? All of those things. So again, that can be found on our website. If you want to cut to the chase and skip the Instagram message and reach out to us first through the Plan Your Trip form, that's totally fine too. So yeah, go and fill out that form and you'll be immediately taken to our welcome guide. So our welcome guide is just going to walk you through what you can expect next, when you should expect to hear back from us. And it'll also go ahead and give you our services menu. And that is something that you cannot access directly through our website. You have to fill out the form first. And it lists all of our services in detail, what exactly you get with each different package. So you can go through the services menu, and then we will reach out to you to plan a Bee Discovery call. It's a consult call. We call them Bee Discovery calls, and these are always free. It's just a dedicated time that we can set aside to talk with you, and we have read through your Plan Your Trip form, taken notes, done some initial research, and have specific questions that we want to clarify with you. And then we also just want to get to know you, especially if we haven't worked with you before. We want to know about you and your fiance, boyfriend, husband, wife, whoever it might be. We want to know your family, your kids, whoever the travelers are. We want to try to get to know them as best we can. We want to hear about trips you've taken before that you've absolutely loved. We want to hear about the trips you've hated. We want to know everything. So that's kind of what the Bee Discovery call is for. It's also the time for you to ask us any questions that you have for us. So at this point, you've seen our welcome guide, you've seen our services menu, and you've started the process of talking with us about planning your trip. And so that's a great time for you to just ask us any questions that you have as well. And then after that, we will send you a link to fill out our new client profile form. And so that's just when we're going to start collecting passport info, and do you have any, traveler numbers that we need to be aware of, and where do you like to sit on the airplane? Things like that. We just want to go ahead and start building that profile on our end so that we're ready whenever you're ready to book the trip that you're looking to plan. And also at that time is when we'll send you the link to process the planning fee. And then after we have those two things, we move on to the phase that we call custom designs. So the custom designs phase on the back end looks a lot different for us than it does for you. For you, what you can expect is your proposal to be delivered to you. On our end, we're putting together the trip for you, or different options, or whatever that might be specific to your trip. We're putting together a custom detailed proposal for you. People always love to look at these. They're really fun. It kind of helps you start to really see like what your trip is going to look like. So it's always really fun. And then after you have your first proposal, we go into a revision phase, just until it's perfect. So we will just work back and forth until you guys are so excited and ready to put your deposit down. Speaking of deposits, we do get a lot of questions about like financials behind the trip. So for deposits, it varies by trip, of course. Rule of thumb, expect to pay like 25% up front, or maybe what is the cost of your flights, and maybe a small deposit on top of that just to hold a resort or a hotel or whatever it might be. So that's kind of what you can expect to pay up front, unless it's really close to departure and you might be in that window of time where you need to pay in full. Most of the time that does not happen because most of our clients plan well in advance, but for those last minute people, if it is a last minute trip, expect to pay in full upfront. But other than that, your final payment isn't going to be due until around 45 days prior to departure. Again, that's a blanket statement. Sometimes it's more than that, sometimes it's less than that. It really just depends on the trip, but we'll definitely be able to outline that for you very clearly so that you know what's up ahead. Also, we have some people who they want to pay in full up front just because they're ready to go ahead and have it paid for. You can absolutely do that if you want to. We have some people who we put down the deposit and then we don't talk money again until the final payment's due. Or we have some people who want to do monthly payment plans. We are super flexible and just try to work with everybody to accommodate their needs. So if money is something that's in question for you, just know that when you're working with us, we can be flexible. So after you've put deposit down, we move to the phase that's called book it. And for us, this is a busy time. For you, this is a relaxing time. You've made your deposit. You can just start getting ready for the trip and daydreaming about it until it comes. But on our end, we typically set up like the book it part just on the advisor side and our project management software and whatnot into two separate parts. One is anything that's going to be immediate needs. It's when we're taking care of like time sensitive things, whether that be dinner reservations for a restaurant that's super hard to get into, or a show that you want to get a ticket for, or transfer details, whatnot. Anything that is time sensitive, we're going to take care of that on the front end. Again, this doesn't involve you. It's just kind of helpful, I think, for people to know what we're doing on the back end. And then the second half are all the things that we accomplish over longer periods of time. For you, that might look like our travel app. So every traveler that we work with gets access to our free and super easy to use travel app. Everybody really loves it. You can expect to have your login credentials about 4 weeks before your departure. If you haven't used it before, if you have never booked a trip with us before, it's got a map feature where you can see where in the world you are. It's got messaging software on it. You can contact us directly on the app if you so wish. It's got every detail that you need about your trip logged in there, all the documents you might need, whatnot. Everything is right there on your phone. The second thing that we offer to everybody is a hard copy itinerary. And everybody gets the option to have a digital or hard or both if you want it. We are so flexible. You can have your itinerary in whatever form that you so wish. But the hard itinerary is cool because if your phone dies, it's still there. So There's pros and cons to both. The hard copy will include our what to do when brochure, which just outlines, hey, what do we do if we missed our transfer, or we missed our train, or who do we call for whatnot? It's going to have emergency contacts. Of course, your travel app will also have that information in it as well. But with the hard itinerary, you've got it right there in brochure form. The hard itinerary is also going to have any documents that you guys need all printed out for you, organized. You'll have an outlined full itinerary as well. So that's definitely something that you'll also want to have. Those we try to put in the mail about 10 days before your trip so that you get it about 1 week prior to departure. We wait that long on purpose to ship because obviously if there's a schedule change and something's already been printed, we cannot update that once it's already been printed. We can update it in your app in real time, but once something's printed and shipped to you, there's nothing that we can do to change it. Something else that is done in that book it stage of our planning process is any concierge items for our VIP treatment clients. So everybody's a VIP. We treat everybody the same, of course, but there are different levels of services that people will hire us on for. And that highest package, if you will, is the VIP treatment. And that's for people who want us to take care of every last detail, big and small, spa treatments, excursions, activities, dinner reservations, anything that they want, we will take care of. And so we typically reach out to you about 60 days before departure to start taking care of those concierge items, unless, of course, they were an immediate need. And then, of course, we have our basic package, which that does not include all of the concierge items that I mentioned before for the VIP treatment. Obviously, the planning fee is a little bit less for the basic package. It just is going to include the basics. So your hotel or resort, and then your transfers and your flights. And a lot of the times, in fact, most of the time, the difference between that VIP treatment and basic package is not necessarily the dollar amount behind the planning fee. It's more so just like a personality type. There are people who they don't like to plan a lot of the activities beforehand. They just kind of want to get to their vacation and see what happens. While other people, they don't want to have to think about waking up and planning an excursion. They just want to know that it's already done. So whatever it is, whatever package that you've hired us on for during that book it section of the planning process, we're going to be taking care of you. And you should also know too that if you've chosen our basic package, but then you get a wild hair before you depart and you book an activity on your own or whatever that might be. I've had people book rental cars on their own, maybe through like some sort of like credit card reward system that they have. If you do anything on your own prior to departure, still send that to us because we want to include that for you in your travel app, in your printed itinerary. We want to take care of you the best way we can. So if you do the basic package and you book something on your own before your departure, let us know. We want to be in the loop so that we can make sure that you're organized. And of course, throughout the entire book it section of our planning process, we are there to answer all of your questions. We want to be there to help. We want to provide insight. We want to give you tips and tricks and hey, you should make sure to pack this or whatever it might be. We're there to help you guys throughout the entire process. So about 2 days before departure, we'll do one last touch in and then you'll go on your way. And that's what's called, of course, our experience portion of the planning process. And during the experience portion of the planning process, we are totally monitoring the trip along the way. We are in touch with the suppliers that we've worked with to plan your trip. We want to make sure everything's going smoothly. We're going to be checking in with you to make sure everything's up to your standard. Of course, we are there for if something goes wrong. We want to help troubleshoot anything that just happens because that's life. We are there to help you along the way. And of course, you better believe we are following along on social media. We love watching the trips come to life from afar. And so when you are posting on your Instagram story or photos, or even just sending us text messages with pictures and videos, you don't understand how happy that makes us because we have worked so hard to bring this trip to life. And so when we can see it come full circle and see how much fun you're having, I just can't tell you how much we love that. So just know we are totally monitoring your trip that way. If we're friends on social media, you better believe we're following along. And then when you return home and the trip is over, our job is not quite yet done. We love phase 5 of the planning process. It is equally as important as the very first initial Bee Discovery phone call we have with you guys. We want to set aside a dedicated time to talk about the trip and hear all of your thoughts. These conversations, you guys, are so valuable to us for a number of reasons. Number one, we want to hear, let's say we sent you to our very favorite hotel in Paris. And the last time we were there, it was absolutely perfect. We want to hear from you, having just been there most recently, even more recently than we have. We want to hear from you that it has been kept up, that it still has that perfect feeling. We want to know that everything is being kept up to speed for the things that we're recommending for our clients. The second thing, and to me is probably the most important takeaway from our follow-up discussion, is I want to know what you as a traveler loved about the trip. There are things that I've been on a consult call before and someone's telling me about the very favorite part of their entire itinerary. And I think to myself, that's interesting. I never would have picked them to get excited about that. And on the flip side, you might tell us about the favorite part of your whole trip, and we are thinking, yes, we hit the nail on the head. We knew that they were going to love that. And so we can remember that for the next time we plan a trip. And of course, we want to know too, hey, for this tour, it was a group tour. We think that next time we travel, we want to upgrade to a private tour or anything else like that. So that the next time you come to us and you want to plan a trip, we already have an upper hand. We already know that we can do something even better than the last. And then after that last conversation, as far as that specific trip is concerned, our planning process is essentially over until the next one, of course. But I hope that you found this information to be somewhat useful. As always, if you have any other questions or want some more information about Be the Travel, head over to our website, find us on Instagram, reach out to us. We try to be super easily accessible for everybody that wants to know how we work. And lastly, if you found this episode to be helpful or interesting, or if it answered questions that you've had in the past, please let me know so I can be aware that we're putting out content that's helpful for you guys. And if you are ready to plan a trip anytime soon, you can, of course, reach out to us or go over to our website or Instagram link and fill out the Plan Your Trip form.
Hey y'all, thanks so much for tuning in. I really hope that you loved what you heard today. And if you did, share it with a friend. Take a screenshot of this episode and send it to them so that they can listen in too, or post it to your Instagram story and tag us at BeTheTravelgram, or write a comment below and let us know what you think. Your support means the whole big, beautiful world to Be the Travel. And until next time, happy travels.